What is going on, beautiful people of the world? My name is Garrett Wolf, and I am the host of the #1 podcast for people who are trying to go from saggy flabs to six-pack abs. I've built my body over the last 8 years, and in the last 3 years, I've helped hundreds of online clients shred unwanted fat and embody the best version of themselves. Now, let's jump right into today's show. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Alpha Movement Podcast. This is the #1 show for people who are trying to go from saggy flabs to six-pack abs, all without giving up the most enjoyable aspects of their life. In today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about how to gain self-confidence. All right, I'm not an expert on this topic. I am not by any means the most confident person when it comes to day-to-day life. However, I do think I've made a lot of improvements since I was, a little youngin', since I was a little kid. So I'm going to take you guys back a little bit, tell you a little bit about my story, a little bit about where I started with my self-confidence and how I built it up and improved it to where I'm not the most confident guy now, but I am able to do a podcast every day. I am able to post myself all over the internet without kind of, giving a care in the world. I'm able to talk to anyone pretty much one-on-one. I'm no longer worried about any of that. And from where I came from, I was even anxious to hop on the phone with people. I know a lot of people can relate to that. I was anxious to post online. I was anxious to go live on Instagram. I was somebody who was kind of pretty low in my own self-confidence, and I was able to build it up, through my own action steps, through my own life, and I think I am qualified to talk about that. But by no means am I an expert, and by no means do I want you guys to think that I'm, some godly, confident, like over the top person, because that's not the case whatsoever. I just think I have some unique life experiences and some things that I could share with you guys about how I built up my own self-confidence and how I'm able to do some of these things now without getting, in over my head and, anxious and feared and cemented by analysis paralysis. And so I thought today would be a good day to throw on this cool little, I don't even know what you would call it, like a button shirt. It's like a nice little button shirt because we are talking about self-confidence, and what better way to feel more confident than, looking the part. So I hope you guys enjoy today's podcast. And at any point, if you do take some value from this podcast, please screenshot my face, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me at _Garrett Wolf, and I will reshare it to my story and send you a free gift. Other than that, guys, I want to tell you about self-confidence because I think a lot of people, especially in the fitness industry, they think that they're not confident because of their body, right? A lot of people who are maybe skinny fat, maybe you're overweight, maybe you're just skinny, or maybe you're just unhappy with your body. And people seem to think that once they change their body, they'll somehow, gain a ton of self-confidence. And I thought this too. I thought this when I was just a little kid, skinny fat little boy, like 195 pounds at 5'10". And I thought that if I just was able to switch my body, then I would be this most, alpha confident kind of person in my day-to-day life, and I would just gain this self-confidence out of nowhere. And while changing my body and, getting shredded and getting abs and getting a bunch of muscles did help my self-confidence with being shirtless, right? With being in front of people without clothes, like being shirtless at the beach or being shirtless at the pool or just being shirtless outside when I go for walks. While it does help with self-confidence there, it doesn't magically change you and transform you into this over the top self-confident kind of jock from high school, if you will, because these are the kind of guys I used to look up to, like the people who didn't care what anyone else thinks, the people who kind of just walked through life without giving a care in the world. And I like to say those things too back when I was a kid, but in reality, I really did care what other people thought about me. I really did care how confident I looked, how cocky I looked, and that was something that I really tried to kind of prevail, or that's something that I tried to kind of put in front of everyone, that I was like this self-confident over the top person, when in reality I was really just kind of insecure and not very self-confident with myself. I was the kid that would literally go on YouTube and watch videos of guys like cold approaching girls randomly with a guitar and like trying to serenade them by singing to them, and I thought, I was like, how the hell do you have the confidence to go up to someone and just start singing and playing the guitar in front of them? Like, that is some over the top confident shit, and I really wanted to be able to do that in my life. But I would watch these videos to try to absorb this kind of confidence, and in reality, it really doesn't do anything for me. The really, like, the only thing that can build self-confidence in you is how much you actually care about yourself. Is like, how much do you value yourself? And like,
putting it into perspective is I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And recently I've been listening to a lot of Gary Vee, right? And Gary Vee's whole thing is he always talks about how, yeah, maybe I suck, not me as in me, but me as in Gary Vee. He's like, maybe I suck, but you guys suck too. Like we all suck. We all suck at certain things until we get better at them. And then once we're better at them, we're just a little bit better than the average person, but we still suck. And so it's like, that kind of juxtaposition of perspective really does help with kind of not judging yourself all the time, because that's one thing I find people do way too often is people with low self-confidence. Maybe you're unhappy with your body, maybe you're unhappy with your body fat levels, or maybe you're insecure about not having a whole lot of muscle, not being very strong. And at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're judging yourself. You're not even giving other people the opportunity to judge you. You're quite literally in your head going, you know, I don't look very good right now. I don't look very good today. I look too fat in this dress. I look too fat in this shirt. I look skinny fat in this shirt. I look skinny fat in these jeans, right? And so you're kind of judging yourself before anybody else can even judge you. And I found me myself, I do this all the time where it's like I might go out and I'm like, I don't look very good. I don't look a certain way. And then I might meet some new strangers and I'm like, these strangers definitely notice that I don't look very good right now. These strangers definitely think that I look like a fool right now in this shirt, in these pants, whatever it is, right? It could be anything. And the reality is, you have no idea what those people are thinking of you. You have no idea what other people are thinking. And so for you to like sit there in your mind and be like, these people must be judging me, is just like, that just is what sheer, like, low self confidence looks like. And at the end of the day, it's not real. It's not based in reality. It's another one of these analysis paralysis cases where you're stuck and kind of trembling and cemented in fear of your own reality. It's just like when you're thinking about an outcome, like when you're trying to hop on a fitness journey and you might be thinking, what if it doesn't work? Why would I waste all this time? Why would I eat all this healthy food if I'm not going to lose weight anyway? Why would I go through all this effort at the gym if I'm not going to lose weight anyway? But the reality is, right? If you eat this food and you go to the gym, then you are pretty much 100% likely to get a new body because you're changing your action steps. So the same thing goes with your self-confidence. If you are someone who is thinking all this stuff, I look fat, I look skinny fat, I don't look very strong, I don't look very muscular, then if you change the thoughts in your head, change the thoughts to a little bit of self love, a little bit of compassion. It's like, maybe I don't look so good in this shirt, but not everybody looks perfect in their clothes. So I look fine. Maybe these people aren't judging me. I might look okay. I might not look skinny fat. I might not look obese. I might not look, terrible like I think I do in my own head. And so that's one of the things that I found, like a mental switch. It's like really giving yourself compassion, really like actually caring for yourself. Because at the end of the day, like who's going to care for you if you don't care for yourself? And I found it to be true. It's like in my day to day life, I'm just constantly judging myself and like I'm my own worst critic. And at the end of the day, that's true for everyone. You are, in fact, your own worst critic. You're the one who critiques yourself the most. And if you're constantly critiquing yourself, then how are other people supposed to even get their input in? Like no one's ever come up to me and is like, you look fat today, right? Like no one ever comes up to me, and maybe they like poke fun of you in school if you're someone who's in school, and like people that men are pretty ruthless. They used to call each other like man tits or whatever, like you're looking fat. Or people used to like do the scoop and poop, like where you fucking scoop their nip and like flip it down. I forget what that's called, but it's like maybe that stuff might happen in school, but that's some very childish shit, right? We're talking about the real world, not just school. People are judgy. People are mean in school, but in the real world, no stranger comes up to you and is like, yo, you look like shit today. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, you look fat. You look terrible in that shirt. You just don't look very good today. And I think you need to make a change. But, when you're going out through your day to day life and you're thinking in your own head those kinds of negative thoughts, then you are being your own worst critic. You're somebody who is just judging the shit out of yourself without even giving yourself any chance to, prove to yourself otherwise. And that's one thing that I found to be true in my day-to-day life is just like when you're going out, when you're like trying to meet new strangers, when you're trying to be confident in yourself, it really starts with yourself. That's why it's called self-confidence. You need to be confident in yourself. And I know it's a lot easier said than done, right? It's a lot easier said than done to be confident in yourself, especially if you're unhappy with your body. And so that's a couple of the things that I work on. So if you're working on your body constantly, if you're going to the gym, if you're constantly making healthier decisions, it's going to be a lot easier for you to be less judgy about yourself, because you might be able to say, I'm fat, I'm skinny fat, I don't look very good today, but I am working on it. I'm doing my best, and I believe I should be able to make a change within the coming months, within the coming years. So it just takes time, but I am working on it. At least you have that juxtaposition to be able to say, like, yeah, I look not very good today, maybe, but I'm going to look good in the future because I am actively working on it. I'm actively trying to fix myself. I'm actively trying to make a change. I know I've done wrong by this thing for the longest time, but I can actively make a change and decide to change my body throughout the rest of my life, right? And so that's something I really think, like, people think once they make the change, they'll gain the confidence, but it's really, you have to gain the confidence before you make the change. And then the change will come and the confidence will come along with that. So at the end of the day, like, there's these other things that you can be self-confident about too, like posting online. I know a lot of people are self-conscious about posting online, and they have to look perfect, and they have to put all these filters on themselves, and they have to do all this and all that. And it's like, man, like, you're really that worried about people leaving comments, and I am too. It's like the hate comments get to me, man. I'm not gonna lie, the hate comments really do get to me. But I was watching some Gary Vee, right, the other day, yesterday in fact, and he was saying, like, the reason the hate comments don't get to him is because he doesn't let the good comments get to him either. He doesn't let the positive or the negative comments get to him. He doesn't like to get high on his own supply, right? When people are like, great vid, you're doing great, good job, all this stuff. So then when the negative comments come along, like, that doesn't affect him either. And so I was thinking about it to myself, is like, I do get really high off the good comments, off the positive comments. I always sit there and I'm like, yes, like, I helped someone today. I changed someone's life. I helped make someone motivated, and that really makes me feel good. But then when I see these negative comments where they're like, just all these trolls and shit, they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is not true. Or my favorite, I hate this shit. People come on my shit and they're like, source question mark, and I'm like, bro, I am not a fucking scientist. I'm a practitioner. I don't sit around reading fucking meta-analyses analyses all fucking day. Like, I don't have time for that shit. And I promise you, anyone asking for a source, you don't have time for that shit either. All you want me to do is link you some dumbass article on Google to make your bitch ass feel better about you not knowing anything, but you're not a practitioner and I am. And I'm not trying to say I'm perfect. I'm not trying to say I know everything about fitness, but obviously I have a fit and more athletic body than the average person. So I know a lot more about fitness than the average fucking person. The average American is obese as shit. It's literally half of the American population is obese as fuck, and the rest of them are just overweight. None of us are fit. Nobody in America is really fit. It's like 5% of the population that's actually fit. And so when you see a fit person, like, telling you and giving you information, like, you might as well fucking listen to them, man. Like, literally, you're like, fucking Sally Pants 613 fucking asshole. Like, you don't know anything about fitness, and you're gonna come to me and tell me that I'm wrong. It's like, that shit just really pisses me off. But at the end of the day, like, it's rooted in my own self-confidence. Like, do I really believe that I am fit at the end of the day, or that I can teach other people how to be fit in a sound and comprehensive and cohesive way that they can actually understand? Maybe that lies on my self-confidence, of my ability to be able to teach other people how to replicate what it is I did in my life. And that might be why when people come to my page and say all this dumbass shit, I'm like feeling a little bit of pain in my heart. I'm like, fuck, maybe Bobby Pants 613 is right. Like, maybe he knows more about fitness than I do, and maybe I'm missing something. And at the end of the day, it's not the case that I'm missing something. The fact of the matter is that I have low self-confidence in my ability to be able to teach somebody else how to replicate my results. And so I just have to do that over and over and over again to be able to be confident in myself, to be able to replicate results. And really, at the end of the day, fitness is just an equation. It's just calories in, calories out. And I know it's like, it's not that simple. It really isn't. People like to say that it's that simple, but in principle, it is that simple. But in reality, there's a lot of behavioral action steps that need to happen. And so one of the things that I, realized in posting content online is like the more you do it, the less you care, right? The more you put your real authentic self out there, the less you care. And so I try to be as authentic as possible. And I still struggle with that shit to this day. And I've been posting online for 3 years. And I still, when the camera comes on and I know that I need to make like an Instagram video, I struggle with being authentic. And it's something I've really been working on, something that I've really, really been trying to dial in. And that's one of the main reasons I made this podcast, is so I wanted to hop into long form content unscripted, unprompted, and just tell you like out of my brain without scripting shit, just being original, talking about me, my life experiences, what I've experienced, and how you might be able to take my life experience and implement it into your life to figure out and solve some of your problems. And so I come onto these pods unscripted. Like I have no idea what I'm going to talk about during the day, but like then I wake up. I literally woke up an hour ago and I was like, I've been thinking about confidence recently. I was listening to Gary Vee yesterday. I want to talk about self-confidence. I want to tell you about my self-confidence journey, and maybe you can take some of my principles from my life and apply it to yours. And it's like, so I'm telling you, like when I was a kid, I thought that if I had a chiseled body, that I'd be more confident out of nowhere. And it's like, that is simply not the case. The only way you gain self confidence is through self love, is through self affirmation, like proving to yourself, like the person spectating your reality, the person spectating your brain, that you can be somebody who is confident, that you can be somebody who actually cares about yourself. At the end of the day, self confidence is just caring about yourself, it's self care. Like, how much do you value yourself? And if you're someone who doesn't value yourself, then you should analyze your life and figure out action steps that you can implement so that you can become somebody who actually cares about themselves, so that you can become somebody who like believes that they are worth the life that they are living. Because the fact of the matter is if you're unhappy with your body fat levels, that's the reason that you're not self-confident. That's the reason that you have low confidence. But it's not the case that if you get a better body you'll be more self-confident. It's the case that if you can love and accept yourself with that skinny fat body and with that obese body, maybe I'm not really about this whole self-acceptance shit when you're like overweight and unhappy with your body. There's really like a fine line. You need to understand and accept that you are someone who is worthy of love. You are someone who needs to care about yourself. You need to be compassionate for yourself while also understanding that you are unhealthy and unhappy with your body. And you do, in fact, need to make a change. But that confidence comes along when you're like, all right, I love myself. I'm not happy with my body. However, I'm actively taking action steps to change my body. And that being the case, cements in stone the fact that I do love myself, that I do care about myself, and I am somebody who is worthy of other people's attention. I am somebody who is worthy of other people's love. And at the end of the day, if you can make that mental shift, instead of being like, one of these obese like models, I hate to get into it, but one of these obese models who's like, you need to love yourself, you need to care about yourself, but then they don't do anything on the side to fix their body. And especially when you're like chronically overweight and obese, like that is a disease that increases your all cause mortality rate significantly when you have one of these diseases. That is a food addiction. I don't see that as any different than someone who smokes cigarettes, right? Someone who smokes cigarettes all day, it's like you may have low self confidence because you're like, fuck, I'm a smoker and I know that smoking is killing me and I know I need to quit smoking if I really want to live a long, happy, and healthy life. And to be confident as a smoker, to be able to love yourself, you need to understand that and you need to actively be dialing down the smoking. You need to actively dial down the drug use, the drug abuse that you know you are doing. And that might bring back a little bit of self confidence because it's about these micro wins, right? These 1% wins every single day. If you're somebody who smokes like, a pack of cigs a day, I think that's like 24 cigs, right, in a day, which is fucking insane. I actually don't know how much is in a pack. I think it's 24, but if you're someone who smokes like a pack a day, you smoke 24 cigarettes a day, I can easily see how you would have low self confidence in yourself because you're like, I'm doing this thing. I know it's killing me. I know it's terrible for me, and I just can't stop. That is something that is hugely prompted to give you horrible self confidence, right? But if you're smoking 24 a day, and maybe the next day you can smoke 23, and then 22, 21, 20, and slowly dial it down, you'll gain self confidence as your drug use goes down, your confidence will go up. As your obesity goes down, as your as you gain muscle, your confidence goes up. All these things that you need to be doing. It's like what I'm trying to say is like if you're living in parallel with what you want to do, that's how you gain self-confidence. And so again, like it crushes your confidence. Again, when you're out and like for men out there, we have to approach women, right? And it's like one of the hardest things in the world because we hate being rejected, right? That's one of the things I love about sales, side note, and being an online coach is I get rejected all the fucking time. 20 times a day people say no to me. And so I don't really struggle with being rejected. I mean, I do a little bit. A lot less than what I used to though. It hurts a lot less than how it used to hurt. So, again, men, they have to approach women. And every time you see a girl that you want to approach and you don't take action and approach her, your self-confidence goes down, right? Because again, living in accordance with what you need to do. So it's like you want to approach her. You want to. Like you can feel it. You want to, even if it's going to be a shit show. You want to because you'd rather do that than feel the fucking regret of thinking, what might happen. What could have happened. You need to do that thing. And when you don't approach her, your confidence goes down because you're not living in accordance with what you want to do, right? And that's how you gain self-confidence, is living in accordance with what you want to do, living in parallel with what you want to do. So next time you feel this thing, next time you feel this burning desire to do something, you should do it if you know that it lives in accordance with what you want to do, like approaching a girl, like going on a fat loss journey, like gaining muscle, like quitting cigarettes, like dialing back the alcohol use, like doing a bodybuilding show. That's something that I'm doing, and it's improved my confidence immensely. Right. And so, how I built up confidence to the level where I'm at, again, I'm not a god. I'm not someone who's insanely confident. I'm not someone who just approaches everyone that I see that I want to approach. I'm not quite at that level yet, even though that would be great. I would love to get there. So, I'm actively working on it, right? You need to approach more people. But I used to be terrified of even hopping on the phone with someone, of even approaching a random stranger who may or may not be a girl or a guy, right? I didn't want to approach any stranger at all. I didn't want to talk to anyone that I didn't know. I barely even wanted to talk to the people that I knew because my confidence was so low because I wasn't living in accordance with my goals. I knew I wanted to do this online shit. I knew I wanted to be an online coach. I knew I wanted to be a brand, an entrepreneur, but I wasn't posting. I knew I wanted to be a fitness coach, but I wasn't messaging people about fitness. I knew I wanted to sell people, but I was unwilling to get on the phone and talk to them and try to sell them on my program, right? I knew I wanted to be someone. Let's get a little dark, right? Let's get a little dark. I used to have like a smoking problem, right? A weed smoking problem. I told you guys about this before. I used to like smoke weed all the time, all day. My relationship with the drug was terrible. Like it was completely dominating my life. This was like 3 years ago, right? And so I knew that I didn't want to smoke all day, yet I was smoking all day. And so that completely tore my self confidence because I was like, fuck, this substance controls me. This thing controls me. I don't have control over myself. And it's like, again, it's like when you're not living in parallel with the person you want to be, that is a self confidence destroyer. That will completely deplete your confidence in yourself because you can't even trust yourself not to do the thing. And so once you start doing things that you need to do to live in parallel with the person that you want to be, your self confidence will skyrocket. You'll start being able to hop on the phone with people without a care in the world because you know that you're someone who can do that. You'll stop doing these substances, smoking this weed, smoking these cigarettes because you are confident enough not to do that. You know you're confident enough that a substance doesn't control you. You will be someone who can start gaining muscle in the gym, start losing fat throughout your life, eating vegetables in your day to day diet because you know that you are the type of person that needs to do that to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish in your life. And that is ultimately how you gain self-confidence, is by living in parallel with the person that you want to be. At least that's what I found true in my life. That's how I gained the self-confidence that I've been able to gain in my life. That's how I'm able to hop on the phone now with anybody. That's how I'm able to approach practically anybody. I may or may not be nervous if they're like a 10 out of 10 girl, right? That like nervousness never really goes away, but that's not self-confidence issues. That's just like shit, like I'm excited about this and I'm also scared about this. That's a completely different thing. But like I said, I can approach people now. I used to be scared about approaching even friends, random girls, random boys. It doesn't even matter, like anyone. Now I can approach them. Now I can call people. Now I can gain muscle on demand. I can lose fat on demand. I'm literally 100% in control. I don't abuse weed any longer. I used to. I don't anymore. I have a completely flawless relationship with it at this point. I completely control it. I can do it whenever I want, and then I cannot do it whenever I want. Again, I don't eat sweets whenever I want. I don't eat candy, even though it's delicious. Like, I love candy, right? But I don't eat it whenever I want. I don't binge eat it. That's something I didn't mention I used to struggle with, is binge eating candy. Like, dude, I used to eat a 24 pack of Gushers from the grocery store, like, and I couldn't stop. Like, when I say I couldn't stop, like, I thought that I didn't want to stop. That's the thing about addiction and just doing substances over and over again. And sugar is a substance, yes, is I would just eat it and eat it and eat it, and I would feel like ass afterwards. After eating 24 packs of Gushes, I would feel like absolute shit. But it's like, now I don't struggle with that because I know that I'm living in parallel with the type of person that I want to be. And so I don't struggle with that shit anymore. And so if you're someone who struggles with self-confidence, I urge you to start just taking one step forward, living in accordance with who it is you know you want to be. 1% progress every single day. It's not about cracking your addiction overnight. It's not about stopping it overnight. It's not about being some wonderful Superman self-confident person who can approach anyone overnight, but it's about taking one step forward. Maybe next time you're out, you see someone you want to approach, just go ahead and approach them. Just go approach to say hi. Just be like, yo, I'm Garrett. Nice to meet you. Like, I thought you looked nice, or I thought you looked cool. So I thought I'd say hi. Like, see what happens. Or maybe that's too hard for you. Maybe just going to the gym is something you can do. Or maybe just eating a couple vegetables is something you can do. Or maybe just, understanding and accepting that you might be overweight and going for a walk and start living in accordance with the person you know you need to be. That is ultimately how you're going to gain self-confidence, or at least that's how I've gained a little bit of self-confidence within my life. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of today's podcast. I'm trying to be more raw, trying to be more real on the podcast recently. I hope you guys can feel that. I hope you guys can feel my authenticity, because I'm really trying to bring out the authentic me and not really play a character anymore, because it's just exhausting playing a character, and I'd rather be myself, because that's ultimately the best version of me that I can be, is just who I am, who I believe I need to be, living in parallel to the core with that. So hopefully you guys got some value. Once again, if you did get value, please screenshot my face, share it to your Instagram stories, tag me at _Garrett Wolf, and I will reshare it to my story, and I'll also send you a free gift. Other than that, guys, it has been your boy Garrett Wolf. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you all in the next podcast episode. Peace, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Hopefully you got some value. If you did get value and you want to learn a little bit more about how you can go from saggy flabs to six-pack abs, just head over to my Instagram at _Garrett Wolf. DM me the word six-pack and I'll reach out to you and see if I can help. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you all in the next podcast episode. Peace.